Hi guys, welcome to the fourth episode of Let's Talk series. And today we'll be talking about blockchains and how to get into them. So today I have a special guest, Mr. Arisht. He's my friend and he's a product manager at xooa, which is an Indian startup for blockchains. So he'll be sharing insights with us about how to break into this domain and like what are the things that you can do if you are aspiring to get into blockchain development. So before we get started, we'll get to him and let's hear up from him a little bit about him. So yeah, let's get to Arisht and let's hear about him. Yeah. So hey Arisht. So
Hi Ankit, how are you doing today?
yeah, I'm good right now. So it's a bit cold, but it's good. So yeah, you can introduce yourself a bit, and we all are interested to know about you a bit more, and then we'll get into the questions and those kind of stuff. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks Ankit for inviting me to your show. And so about me, my name is Arisht, and I'm from Jammu, J&K, India. And currently, I'm working as a product manager at xooa. It has been around 4 years since I've been working in this domain. And I started as a software engineer, then gradually I took to product management space and product management role, and now I'm working in that capacity. So I'm featured developer by Hyperledger. So Linux Foundation was kind enough to do that, and what I do basically is I help with the digital transformation for various like Fortune 500 companies and to let them use the blockchain in their various solutions and how to go about that. So that is what I do for day-to-day work here at. So
Yeah, that's really awesome. Like you do a lot of thing, and you are like experienced as well, right? So, like the main topic for today is getting into blockchain. So, when we talk about blockchain, the first thing that hits our mind is Bitcoin, right? Because really, like at least I came across many people who were talking about blockchain. So when I asked them that how they came to know about this technology, right? They said that they get to know from Bitcoin. They said that Bitcoin is something that works on blockchain or something like that. They had a rough idea. So the first question is for the day is that yeah, that what is the difference between the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, because many folks appears to be confused between these two things. So maybe you can shed some light on this. So yeah, Rest, over to you.
totally. Even for me, it started from Bitcoin. So we were seeing how crazy the hype is around Bitcoin. So I thought about what is going behind the scenes, how the Bitcoin is working. Let me learn about it. So then I got to know about blockchain and various other aspects that blockchain can live up to. It can be used in various industries and all. So that's how I got into it. So what we see is that Bitcoin is an application that has been built over blockchain. So blockchain is a technology. If I am going to use an analogy for this, so if you say that Node.js or React.js or even C or C++ is like blockchain, but Facebook or Instagram, so that is like Bitcoin. So it is an application that is built on top of it. And it serves a particular purpose, which is it acts as a cryptocurrency and it allows you to trade money from one person to another. So that's its USB, its application, and yeah. So the blockchain is the technology that works behind this.
Yeah, that's pretty clear. That we can say that blockchain is something that goes under the hood, that powers your Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is something that we all are using day to day. So yeah. By the way, I like to like I'm also following Bitcoins a lot these days. They are like skyrocketing. So for today, when I saw it in the morning, it was around hitting around 30 lakh Indian rupees per Bitcoin and around 40,000 USD. So maybe just for a fact that it's really rising. So yeah, let's get to the next question for the day. That okay. We know that blockchain is something that powers Bitcoin, but let's say that blockchain is in itself a huge technology. Like there are lots of things that goes into blockchain. So if there's a fresher who is interested to get into this, like I want to break into this domain, then what are the things I need to do? Like how actually if I am interested to get into this and I don't know anything about it, like so what are the things I should do so that it is possible for me to break into being a blockchain developer? Over to you, Arish.
Yeah. So as a pressure or not? So there are few things that you would need to crack into any other different role to have a little bit of experience or little bit of know-how as to how the things work. For the blockchain, if we talk about particularly about blockchain, so it is various DLTs. So there are a lot many DLTs that are available. Most of it open source. So for example, Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Sorted, or Corda or Ethereum. So if you get to know how these are working, but if a transaction gets through, how it goes through, if it goes through a peer first, then it goes to orderer, or what is what is the what are the things, what are the processes that goes around it. So you get to know all of this, and then you study various applications that has been built around it. So since we are living in an age where the knowledge is pretty much available to everyone with an internet connection, so you go around that, you study how the smart contracts have been written, and try to write your own as well. Maybe your pet project, maybe something that you can show as a showcase that you know this and you have a grasp of this, and put it out for other people to see. So that will really help when you are breaking into this domain. So when a company is looking at you, they will see your profile and they will see that you really know your stuff and how the things work. That will really help when you're looking into this.
That's great. So, what we can say that like we don't need to dig into the blockchain directly, but rather we can first start with learning the various we can see the wrappers developed by these top companies like Hyperledger Fabric is by IBM, I guess. So yeah, maybe that is the way. So with that, maybe that you can also refer to us some kind of resources that we can refer to, like if I'm starting, I want to learn all this, right? But then again, net is there and everything is available, but it's so crowded out there, like it's very hard to know what is good for me, what should I do or not, because there are a lot of options available. So what is your suggestion, what resources you suggest are really good, that you have personally experienced, are good, that one can follow? Yeah.
For me, I'd say whatever DLT you are going to follow, if you are going to follow, let's say, Corda or again Hyperledger Fabric, so they have pretty great documentation available for them, and they tell you in detail as to how can it be done. There are various videos that they have published as well. So I would suggest go with the official documentation or official videos. But if that seems that it is too much for you, so everyone is starting at goes in different pace and they're starting from different levels. So if it seems like too much for you, then try to have a good course. So one course that uh, I viewed in the starting days was Blockchain A to Z by Kirill on Udemy. It was so that gives you a good head start as to what it is, what the blockchain is, how it can be used, what is cryptography and everything. So once you're familiar with all those, then maybe the documentation, the official documentation that you see will be helpful to you.
That's pretty decent. So, yeah, we can conclude that it's kind of we can refer to the documentation, but before that, to get an introduction, we can refer to Udemy. That's what you're suggesting, right? I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that, like I have a personal experience as well. Like I have done courses on NPTEL, like NPTEL offers on blockchain. I have done that. I've been given exams for that, and like on Udemy also I've done. Like Udemy personally, I don't exactly remember the person whose course was there, but it has a really good introduction, a brief intro about how you can create. They made you create one simple blockchain as well, right? But my question is, like there's small confusion that people have, that they should start learning blockchain as a technology, from the like from the core part of it, that is how you create a blockchain by coding it down, or going to these pre-prepared layers, like hyper ledger is there, and a lot of options are available. So what do you suggest? Like there's a developer, right, and he's starting, maybe he wants to go into the core technology. So is it early for him to get into that, or maybe he can start with that, or he should first go to these ready-made blockchains that we have available, learn to use them, and start building apps on them, and then get into these deeper part aspects of blockchain? What do you suggest? Yeah.
So if you're going into core, like creating your own DLT, so that is a pretty big ask to me and pretty big task for you to complete. To start with, I would suggest go with the other wrappers, other frameworks that is out there, and most of the industry is also using that. Try to their their source code is also open source. So try to give something that you want to those projects initially. So if those get approved, your pull requests are approved and merged into the master code base, that would be a really great addition to you, and you will get to learn a lot. Starting from scratch, how the exact blockchain works and coding that, that is, I'm not sure if you are going to do it alone, yourself only. It might take you years. If you have a good team of people along with you, of course, it can be done in very less time. But certainly, it is a big task that you are going to put yourself to. So yeah, I'd say go with the current technologies, current frameworks, and then if you really want to, then go to these.
Yeah, that's yeah, pretty neat answer. Like that is something that like if I want to get into a job, maybe and that's what I'm aiming. Then I guess going for the frameworks is a better choice than getting into the nitty gritties. And if you are a geek and you want to explore things, then I guess yeah, maybe you can get into that. That's what I guess you mean, Adesh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So let's move to the next question. In continuation to this, that okay, that we know these things are there, but always when you go for an interview or apply for a job, there is some key requirements are there, right? So what are the key certifications you suggest, I mean, like for anyone who want to get into this, to to complete before applying for an interview? Like these are the basics that generally people are looking for who are hiring any blockchain developer or anyone in this particular domain. So what are the key certificates you suggest that I should do, or at least are well versed with them? Like that is what should I do before that? Yeah.
Yeah. So blockchain, when you're working on a blockchain application, it gets divided into two aspects. So one is you are a smart contract developer, and another is you are administrator. You are setting up all the different nodes, all the different instances and stuff. So it's more of a DevOps kind of a role. So for this, the certifications do exist. So most of the industry is going towards the private blockchain, and with that, the most common is Hyperledger Fabric, Sawtooth, Corda. So if you're going to those, administrator certification exists. So even for me, like I have CHFA, which is Certified Hyperledger Fabric Administrator. So that would help if you are looking for those kind of roles along the DevOps side. But if you are going to as a software developer or a smart contract developer, so for those, I don't see that certifications exist or even are required. So for this, what you will require is a good grasp of the underlying technologies. Like Ethereum is based on Solidity. So if you are really good at Solidity, you can write good smart contracts as well. And for Hyperledger Fabric, Node.js, Java, and Golang. So the know-how of these technologies will be very much important than gathering any certification in this case.
That's great. So, like there's always this thing goes on, like that there are many people who feel that certifications are more important than knowledge, or like what I have personally observed, that there are many courses, like there's many good YouTube channel which are teaching blockchain, but people prefer that doing a course which give them a certificate will be better. So, what is your point on this? Like whatever course I do I actually need to have a certificate to prove it that I have done it, or even demonstrating my skills gonna be fine? Because personally, like at least I have been working with TCS. What I felt in the company, that at least here they do require you to have particular certifications. So what is your, like, in a blockchain world, like there are many companies out there. So if I'm going to look for a job, do I need to carry proofs of what I've done, like certificates, or maybe experience kind of like I made some project or something that I need some proofs, or maybe just demonstrating the skill gonna work? Yeah.
I guess it differs from company to company. So if it's a big organization like TCS, big MNC, so they would require some kind of certifications because they have a lot of applications that they have to filter out through, and this would be a great advantage. But if you are working for a startup or as a freelancer even, then I guess these certifications won't matter as much as the skills would be. So if you have the skills, if you have the great portfolio on GitHub, I don't see a point where a certification, if you have a certification or not, would make such a big difference when you are jumping into this.
Yeah, so like yeah, the main point is getting in touch with the HRs of the company without getting filtered out because of not having a certificate, because it could be possible that I may not have a certificate, so I'm not eligible only to apply. So maybe those things are valid for the bigger companies, but like for startups we can go that way maybe. So like along with this, we hear a lot of that blockchain is widely used in cryptocurrencies, and we also get this thing coming out that that this is a future, and how we do banking today going to be replaced with this kind of manner how cryptocurrencies are operating. But apart from cryptocurrencies, what are the scopes of blockchain that you see, like where all the places we can apply it? Like what I remember is that it is very well applicable in supply chain management and stuff like that. So yeah, apart from these cryptocurrencies, where all what all applications that blockchain can have, that at least who are getting into this can have a good idea about it, that apart from doing cryptocurrencies we can get into a lot of other stuff as well. Yeah.
Certainly, cryptocurrency is just a single aspect of where blockchain is getting used currently, but the where it can be used is almost any industry. So the blockchain is providing certain features to you or certain capabilities to you, such as trust, security, immutability, such as all those things. And these are the aspects that will be required, or that will be great to have in any industry. So supply chain is definitely a great example, as you suggested, and others being like healthcare or internal banking purposes, internal operations of any company. So each company has a great number of partners with which they want to find trust when they are dealing on certain aspects, and they want their data to be immutable. They don't want to go to courts every now and then whenever something bad happens. So this is where blockchain can really come into play and have a great opportunity created for in any industry. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. So with that, let's get into the research aspect of it. Like blockchain is pretty new technology. Like many gurus of blockchain, you can say that we are still evolving. It's still evolving, and there's a lot to done in it. So what are the key research area that or that you have in your knowledge that is currently going on? Like what I remember, when I was getting learning about blockchain, was that there's a lot of research going in consensus algorithm, because they can really impact this the performance and the speed of blockchain. So what are the key research areas that you are aware of that are being like currently under development, trying to improve the blockchain that we have in the form today? Yeah.
Yeah, so for the key research area, definitely consensus is one of them. So they are trying to make it as functional as possible, because previously we saw that proof of work was being used. Even now it is being used, but it requires a lot of mining power, and people are seeing that a lot of energy is being wasted just to run a single blockchain. And there might be a better solution to it. So they are working on various aspects, like proof of stake is there and others on the public end. On the private end, I'd say they are working more towards making it more and more useful for day-to-day use cases. If we see, so most of my work has been around Hyperledger Fabric. If we see how we have evolved from Hyperledger Fabric 1 to currently 2.x, so a lot of new things has come up, which makes the blockchain a capable technology that can be used in any industry. And that is very much important, because without that, it's just a buzzword. It's just a hype that, okay, we are using blockchain, but are you really using blockchain? That is the main question. To make it possible, I guess, yes, this is the main key focus should be of any of the private DLTs that we have around there.
Yeah, with this I come remember this, that there have been many discussions that if blockchain is so good and such a novel technology, then why hasn't it replaced our banking system today? Like, what is the main issues in this? Like, why is it not happening right now? Like, we have cryptocurrencies, they are happening, but still we can say that they are not too much prevalent right now. Like, they have started to get acceptance in different countries, but still they haven't replaced the normal banking transactions that we have today. So what are the limiting factors in this? Like, what is holding the blockchain back? Is it the technology that is not yet developed, or some other drawbacks that it has with it? Yeah.
For cryptocurrency, it is very much common to see that banking, especially banking regulators, are not going ready to accept this because even if you see right now during COVID times, US printed a huge amount of dollars out of thin air. That actually made every dollar that is there in your pocket a little less value, of a little less value, and they want to do same things again and again whenever certain economic crisis arises. They see this as a solution to their problem. But with blockchain, even during this crisis, we have seen that the prices have jumped up. So this is about the cryptocurrency that regulators, the governments mostly are not ready to accept this. Uh, Certain governments, certain small governments did try to accept this. If we talk about Venezuela, so they tried introducing petro, but even with that, it is not in circulation, I guess, right now, or not being commonly used. So it was a very failed attempt because even if the government tries to implement this, the people are not very much comfortable with the new technology. Now, if we talk about blockchain in other industries, so when talking about other industries, the blockchain is currently most of the project are under POC stages. We see very less which are being used industry wide, or which are like a go to solution for any of the problem. Again, because it is pretty much new technology. People don't have a really great grasp of it. The other point being that even if there is grasp, the solutions are not done in a great way that it could achieve. So, for example, if we are talking about supply chain, so you have a distributor, you have a supplier, you have a manufacturer. Let's say distributor and supplier are ready to accept this new technology, but supplier is not. So, but it won't be successful because you need all the participants to be on the same platform to achieve all the features or the capabilities that it can provide. Unless that is done, that I don't see that blockchain will be very successful unless this is achieved. That the block that has been created by people in their own perspectives, if that is achieved, if that is overcome, then we can see a whole lot of industry adopting this technology.
Yeah, even I remember that one of the major issues was a transaction limit as well. Like, if we talk about Bitcoin, it cannot handle transaction a lot of transactions. Like, I don't remember exact numbers, but maybe it can handle in thousands. If you may be knowing better, so it handles something in thousands. But if we talk about our regular services, they are like hitting in maybe millions of transactions happening. So that was one of the points, I guess, that was also holding it back. Maybe, yeah. If you if,
That is very DLT specific. So that is what we are saying about Bitcoin. But we have seen different DLTs as well. Like, for example, Ripple. So Ripple can handle a lot of transactions, and it will be available for real banking use cases. A lot of banks have even tried to adopt it. So with that as something, I mean, new and new technologies have to be explored. Not We can't say that a single solution is going to be useful for each and everything that we have around here.
That's great. So, Yeah, with that, let's get back to the main topic for the day. So yeah, like, if I join a company, and what are the roles that I can expect, to get, like, as a blockchain developer. Definitely, like, what are the kind of roles, or rather, we can say that what kind of work you will be exposed to when you get into any of the blockchain based company. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are various roles around any blockchain project that you do. So let me as an example, let's say that you are working alone on the whole blockchain project. So you will have to wear a lot of hats during this. So you will be creating your own smart contract. So you will be acting as a smart contract developer. You will be acting as an administrator. So like you are setting up all the DevOps operation, all the instances you are running, you are maintaining it. The another one will be the user side of it. So you have to provide a front end to the user to interact with your application. So you will have your front end and back end, and maybe even a persistent database that might be running around with it. So that is another hat you will be you will need to put on, such as this would be the full stack developer hat. So I guess these are the three different roles that one needs to do while creating any blockchain project.
that's 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 what one can expect. So yeah, with that, let's get to your experience. Like, you have been working in Zua for quite a long time now. So what how has be how your experience has been with working, getting exposed to a lot of technologies, etc. So how it's like, working in this blockchain industry. Yeah.
It is, I guess, roller coaster ride. So first of all, it is great to working with a great team, and also to work with new technologies and try to integrate it with the legacy systems. But there is a bit of a problem or a bit of a concern that arises along with it, and that the customers that you are dealing with, they are not very much aware of what blockchain can do for them, even if blockchain is required for their solution or not. So they do come to us because they have learned about blockchain, and it's a hype, it's a buzzword. So they want to integrate, they want to pitch to their clients that okay, we are using blockchain at our backend, so our solution is better. But the question again arises that do you really need it? If not, then you are just adding to your cost, nothing else. You are not getting any advantage out of it. So I guess if people get to know more about what it can do, what it can achieve, and how it can achieve, now where the uh, when the question of how comes, of course we can help with that. But do you really need? So that is something that customers has to ask themselves. So that's why I'd say that it's a roller coaster ride, because it's great to work with the new technology and the people, but sometimes this pose as a lot of hindrance to what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, that's something that everyone does experience, because blockchain, though I won't say it's super old technology, but again, it's not quite, people just keep on talking about blockchain but hardly know what actually it does. So that is one reason. But with that, I come to this another question, in follow up for that, blockchain is so, like, it's something that's not easily, people don't get the exact meaning of what blockchain is. Then like you were saying, that it's very gets hard to explain to your customer that if they need it or not. So how do you explain it, like, how you break down this technology to make your customer understand that, because it's such a new thing, and it's also not that easy to understand how it actually works. So how you make, simplify this thing to make your customer understand, and make them see that if it's going to be something that they're going to benefit from it or not. Yeah.
Well, there is no easy answer to that question, frankly. What we try to do is it goes from customer to customer. Each have their own perceptions and see, and we try to put ourselves in their shoes and see what is the level of understanding they have, and where we can pick it up from there. Also, we try to tone it down a lot. So, especially with the business people of the other customers. So the technical people may get a bit of an understanding, but with the business people, we really tone it down and use a lot of analogies with the legacy system. So we would say that, like, when we started here, so I'd say that we can use an analogy that blockchain is Node.js or a React.js or a C or C++, and Facebook or Instagram is a Bitcoin. So we use such kind of analogies to make them understand what actually this is, and how it can impact, it can benefit, or it can even be adverse for your legacy systems.
That's great, and I guess that's not an easy task as well. So yeah, with that, if we talk about interviews, right? Because at some point of time, anyone who want to get into this will face an interview, right? So like for you, it has been you have to go down your memory lane to remember that. But still, can you share that how interviews are generally done for such roles, and even like I guess you might be even have taken some couple of interviews as well, maybe. So like if I'm going for an interview, or if someone who is going for an interview, what are the key things that he should keep in his mind when he's going for any such interviews, work or regarding the blockchain based work or something? Yeah.
Certainly. So, as I said earlier, so there are various roles that you need to put on, the caps that you have put on when you're working on a blockchain project. So, if I'm hiring for a smart contract developer, in that case, I would like to see that he is very comfortable with the language that he is writing the smart contract in. He has written a couple of smart contracts or even more, which really served some great use case. He understood the architecture of that smart contract, how it is written. So for that, I'm not really looking for if he understands how the DLT works, if he understands how the whole blockchain works, but rather how comfortable and how accustomed he is to with the technology, with the language, and with writing the smart contract. Whereas if I'm hiring for administrator role, in that case, I would really want him to understand the whole process as to how DLT works. If a transaction is being committed, to which node it is going first, and then to which node, and if it gets rejected in between, if you are being able to find out what caused the problem, that would really help me understand that he knows the whole architecture, he knows how everything is being done. And the third role is, of course, on the front end. For that, none of it is required. So you need to have like a MERN stack or mean stack experience, and you're good to go. You don't need to understand how the blockchain is working or even how the smart contract is working.
Yeah.
But if I am hiring for a role who is going to accomplish all of these things, then I'm looking for a Superman. And yes, I would like him to know from the very beginning to the very end everything how it is being done.
Yeah, so we can even talk about this. Let's say that let's say that there are two categories of people who will be applying for such jobs, right? One who are recently graduated, just the newbies maybe, and the other ones who have some experience, maybe not in blockchain but in other technologies. So we have discussed this earlier also that some experience is expected, but let's say that to gain also some experience somebody has to start somewhere, right? So let's say I'm a graduate, I'm just graduated, and I have a decent knowledge about it, maybe like I don't know everything of course, but I do have a idea about the blockchain as a whole, and maybe have done a bit of coding around it. So in that scenario, what do you suggest? Like I can still try to apply for any of the companies who are doing this, or maybe I better get into some of the legacy technologies and then maybe try after some years, or maybe when I have some experience. What do you suggest? Like which track should I go for? Yeah.
It actually depends person to person, but there are few ways that I have seen that people have taken and succeeded. So first would be to get into the company, which is of course using blockchain, and maybe apply for a different role, like a MERN stack developer or a mean stack developer, and from there try to move to different the blockchain based role internally uh, within the company. That would be very easily done once they know how much you know, what are your capabilities and everything, and if they think that you will be better served there. The second is that take up some pet project of yours, write your own smart contract, create your own front end application, uh, give it as keep it as open on GitHub or maybe other places, and then try to apply for the blockchain rules itself and see that if they I guess they will the companies will find it very useful that you are really interested in this and you have already done something despite that you are just a graduate and you have something to show to them, so that will really help in gaining a position in blockchain.
That's great. So, yeah, let's say now, let's get back to Bitcoin for rather blockchain. I'm also replacing interchangeably using them, but yeah, let's get back to blockchain for a bit. So, I have this interesting saying that people have, that what blockchain has done, that it has made things decentralized. It has given users the control of their privacy. So, do you agree with this, that you do blockchain give a user like me the privacy of what I of my data or something? And if it does, then how it does, like in a layman you can language, you can explain that how actually blockchain make that happen? Yeah.
I would fully agree with this. So, user privacy is not something that blockchain provides, but user security is the data security is something that they absolutely does. So, if we talk about the immutability feature of the blockchain, so it allows you the data that you have, nobody can change it, and if they do, you would very much know because everything after that particular point of time will be invalid. So it does provide security in that way, but it doesn't like protect whatever data that you're storing in the blockchain. If you are storing your personal health information, for example, which is very much mandatory that it should be private, it should be cryptographically protected by many nations, I guess even Europe. So they have like HIPAA compliance and everything. So in that case, it won't be beneficial. But we do have certain DLTs that provide this feature, the user privacy data privacy feature. For example, if I talk about Coda, so if in that, if let's say you are trying to enter into a bar or a pub and it requires that you are over the age of 21, now without disclosing your date of birth, you can give a proof to them that you are over the age of 21. So in that way, that your data keeps as private, but you are also able to interact with the other party and provide them with the proof. So this is very DLT specific implementation that they have done to give this particular feature as user privacy.
Yeah, so with this, like, if we try to understand that, how this works. So let's say that what we are talking about here is that, if I have some kind of information stored in, maybe a government, with the government, with which is secured cryptographically, and if I'm doing any transaction with it, I don't need to actually fill in my data to someone. Like, I don't have to give in my data. Rather, I can just say that, you can just check on my blockchain and you can verify that if it's valid or not. So maybe that way it works. But if we talk about transactions, right? Let's say that we are doing transactions, like if we talk about Bitcoin also, all the transactions are pretty much visible to everyone, right? So in that case, if we are dealing with bank, at least the transactions are between the bank and me, right? Like, no one knows what transaction I did. But on a blockchain, it's publicly available. So how can we say that it's more secure, being a being in a blockchain, when it's publicly visible to everyone? Like, where is my privacy about my transactions? So what's your viewpoint on this? Yeah.
Sorry, you got cut off in between. You have to repeat that question.
Oh, sorry. I'll go again. Yeah. So what I said, that let's say that if I'm talking about transactions on a banking service, right? So if I'm doing a transaction between with the bank, right, then the transaction that I'm doing is between the bank and me, right? The bank knows what I did, and I know what transactions I did, right? But if we talk about a blockchain based solution or implementation, the thing is public, right? The what transaction I do will be public. Even in Bitcoin, what ever transaction I'm doing is kind of public. It's in the public ledger. So in that case, where is my privacy? Like, how I'm saving it, because it's all available to everyone. So that's the main idea, that where is my privacy going, and how it's more secure than a normal bank transaction that we do. Yeah,
Yeah,
we understand.
the security is certainly there that the transaction that you have done can't be changed later on. So, for example, if I have sent you 100 rupees and later you can't deny that I haven't sent you because the proofs exist, the ledger exists, and everyone can see that. but the but we can see be using they can use more of a private blockchain ledger. So with that, the privacy that is contained within that particular ledger only, and it will not be visible to other participants unless they are part of that particular ledger, they are joined to that particular ledger. So in this way that we can help in maintaining the privacy. So with the public blockchains that we have currently, like uh, Bitcoin and uh, Bitcoin and public Ethereum, it won't be possible to maintain the privacy of the transactions that is being done between two parties. It is available to the whole network. But with the private blockchain, we can definitely achieve this.
Yeah, so maybe it's a kind of a we can say trade-off. That if you want a lot of
Yeah.
a high level of security, then you go for public blockchains with your data available. So at least you have a proof. Like in case of house registries, if we talk about house registries, you can say that, yeah, like I have this house register, or I have this car. Maybe you can say asset registry. So that can be public. People can know that, okay, you own this asset, and that way no one can claim to own your asset. So that way it could be beneficial, while it's like a trade-off, we can say, that we face. So yeah, let's get to the next one. Yeah, let's get to Arisht only. You are working at Zua for a long time, right? So there have been times that you have enjoyed the work a lot, and sometimes that you have to be like not that good of a day. So can you share with us some of the most exciting experiences of the work that you did at Zua, that you like were more enjoyable, a part of your job that you did? Yeah.
Uh, I'd say the most exciting one would be to interact with a lot of people in the industry and learn. So previously we had some interaction with the IBM Hyperledger CTO,
Okay.
and others in the industries who are there from the start, who have made this whole thing possible. So that is, and we learn from them, and we learn a great deal from them, and what is their vision, what is they are trying to achieve with this, and we really get inspired from that. So those are the days that I really wish that come every day, but of course that is not possible. So those are the times that I most enjoy.
Yeah, so yeah, let's get to again back to blockchain. So yeah, what do you think, what is the future of blockchain, like, according to you, in the next 5 years or 10 years? What kind of stuff we can expect from blockchain? Like, what kind of stuff the blockchain will be start to be implemented in? Like, even today we can see that it has slowly crept into a lot of technologies. Even machine learning and these things are also leveraging it. So what is your expectation that in next 5 or maybe 10 years blockchain will be, where blockchain gonna be? Like, will it be a prominent technology like AI or something we have today? Like, what do you think? What's your view on this? Yeah.
I think that blockchain will be very useful in each and every industry, but as a feature, not as a product that you build upon. So, if you're thinking about building a new product based on the blockchain itself, I guess that won't be very viable in the market in the coming years. But rather, you have an existing product. For example, you already have a supply chain and you use blockchain as a feature upon that. That would be very helpful. So we could see that the blockchain is being used where we are facing trust issues or we are facing the security issues. There we would see more and more use cases, more and more people trying to use this and make it happen. And Yeah, it is not going anywhere really soon. It's true that it is. I guess in the last year, the hype was at the peak. Now it is getting reduced down, but it is. I guess it is going to maintain this for coming next
At
years.
least we can talk about a technical world, maybe not the normal public, but a technical world will be keeping it in mind, because maybe it's opening new doors for them, right? Making help them making more accurate and more hardcore technology, maybe robust technology rather, I should say. So
Certainly, yeah. For the technical world, I guess it might be just another addition. They would require everyone to have. That's a big way to go to that. But maybe that it seems like for any job profile that you have on technical, like even if you're applying for a tech lead or a technical architect, you might need to have blockchain experience of some kind, or to be even eligible for that.
Maybe that could be, it can become a staple technology, we can say, maybe. Yeah, so let's get to, the more interesting part again, that, common people will understand, that is Bitcoin, right? So, Bitcoin is skyrocketing, right? Even, like, right now I just checked, it's 41,000. The morning was 40, now 41. So, like, we have seen this growth in Bitcoin a lot, right? But if we talk about the other cryptocurrencies that are, in the race, like the Ethereum is there, and even talk about Ripple, and a lot more of them are there. So what do you think? This kind of rise will be expected in other currencies also, or maybe, it's just the blockchain that it was something that from which it all started. That's why it has gained all this. So, like, your view on this, like, can we expect such kind of stuff with other cryptocurrencies, that what we are experiencing with Bitcoin in particular?
Yeah, so it is my view only, and I'm speculating here. So, what we have seen with Bitcoin, we could certainly see with Ethereum, because Ethereum is finding a lot of new use cases. So, the smart contracts can build upon Ethereum, and it is a great way for it to follow lead. And but if we talk about other cryptocurrencies, we have seen how Ripple has fallen in previous days. It got delisted from various crypto exchanges, and the price crashed a lot. So even such a small, the only thing that happened to Ripple was that a court case was opened against them. So if a small thing like opening a court case can make it swell down, the price of Ripple goes swelling down so much. I don't know if other altcoins can remain in the market if this type of things happening. And people do have money; they like to invest, and they make the price rise. But they now have seen that only one or two of them are giving them gains, and other are not so much. So they are going to move their money to these two cryptocurrencies only, and others might die.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's,